Hello everyone, I am Shivani and welcome back to my channel. For all those who are new here, a very warm welcome. Thank you so much for dropping by. Now, as the title suggests, I am going to be talking about my favorite 5 books from the non-fiction category. Now, there's a little story behind it. I've been meaning to do these videos in a very long time, and every time I would sit down to choose my favorite books, the list will actually get longer. So I decided to do this video in 2 parts. Today we're going to be talking about books from the non-fiction category, which includes genres like business, philosophy, self-help, etc. And later I'll have a video where I'll talk about 5 books from the fiction genre. Of late, I prefer reading books that can change the way I think and challenge the way I live my life. I know, sounds intense, but hear me out. The way we perceive this funny thing called life is actually an amalgamation of our upbringing, our friends, and the kind of art we choose to indulge in most. For me, I choose books. I choose books to enlighten me, to entice me. So in no order of preference, here are my 5 favorite books from the non-fiction category. Let's go. First up is The Leader Who Had No Title by Robin Sharma. Now, 2 years ago, this book did exactly what I just mentioned in a major way. Before I read it, I thought the purpose, the crux of my life was about me being happy, about me living in the moment. And no, I am not denying the fact that it's not important. Definitely it's important, but I realize that it's not the only thing that's important. Life is so much more than that. It's about realizing your full potential. It's about becoming the best version of yourself at work, about touching lives, about influencing people, doing something that you believe in, and eventually leaving a legacy behind before you turn into a pile of dust. The philosophy of this book is so correct and apt that I just keep on wondering that how come I did not think about it myself. So, quoting him, he says that titles do bring power. But the problem with that kind of power is that if the title is taken away, the power gets lost. Now, what he's trying to say here is that you don't need to be someone, you don't need to be anyone to be unrealistically persistent, to be a helping hand, to influence others, to listen intently, to embrace the chaos, to be yourself and say what you feel. And this book worked for me a lot more because at that point of time, I was struggling in my career. I was running behind titles. So after I read it, it just made everything so clear. I could see the bigger picture. And for me, it was nothing less than magic. To quote my favorite quote from the book, it goes like, "Few things generate as much happiness as knowing that you're fully realizing your genius, doing brilliant work, and living and spending your life beautifully." The second one is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Now, the first thing that I noticed about this one is a line in the prologue that says, "A book that will change your life." I thought it was too much to commit, but after reading it, I thought I somewhat agree now. So it's a very simple yet powerful book about your subconscious mind that is also a storehouse of infinite intelligence and unending power, and also explains that how all the happiness in the world that you're actually searching for is within you. I know, sounds funny, sounds bizarre, but it's actually true, my friend. That Apple Watch, that expensive phone, that car, that girl/boy is not gonna make you happy. Whatever's gonna make you happy is within yourself. 3 of my favorite quotes from the book goes like, "The law of life is the law of belief. The grateful heart is closer to the forces of universe, and there is no one to change but yourself." I know, I have a lot of amazing things about this book, and I also know for a fact that a lot of people find it repetitive and too much hopeful. The examples which are shared here, I agree, it's too good to be true, but then it instills your faith in faith, and give it a try, to each his own. The next one is The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up by Mark Manson. So about this one, a friend of mine recently asked me if there is one book that I would suggest for everyone to read, which would it be? And I said this. Not because I've not read something better than it, but simply because I think this book is an easy breezy read and it appeals to the masses. Also, I totally agree with what it says, and I'm a huge fan of the author as well. I read his blogs also. So the book talks about two things. First, how and why you should not give up about everything, and how and why you should give up about something. Did I confuse you? Okay, let me simplify this. Mark says in his own blunt and carefree way that we need to stop fretting over the littlest, the smallest of things. Take a step back and try to analyze all those things which are truly important and valuable to us. He talks about right set of values that one should have that will help him get through life easily. So there is a chapter in this book called You Are Not Special, and I would not lie, but I was a little hurt when I read it because I thought I was special. I mean, don't get me wrong, he then explains in a very thoughtful way, very realistic way, that how come you're not special, because if everyone is, then nobody is technically. Getting my point? Anyway, there's another chapter which says that you should not be positive all the time, which basically I am all the time. So these little things that challenge my thought process is what I like about in all these books. And what also works for me is that he tells his own story, he bears his soul, and he talks about the issues that he faced, how he came out of it, and he doesn't sugarcoat anything, which I think is the best thing for me, at least in that book. Next one up is How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you guys have ever gone out, Google me, bookstores me, Amazon me, and if you have done your research about any self-help book per se, this book would be recommended on top. And that is the reason, because what I think is most amazing, the mind-blowing fact about this book is that it was written like 80 years ago, and the fact that it's still so accurate and so relatable in all our lives. So in general, it talks about spreading kindness, it talks about being nice to people, how we should value what they think, what they say, and overall, if we follow these 30 rules that are out here, it will help us lead a better life. Now here, there are a few of my favorite rules. I will just read them out. Rule number 6 says, let the other person do more of the talking. And yeah, it's very difficult for me, but I'm trying to make it work since I've read this book. The other one says, rule number 8 says, try to see things from the other person's point of view, which I think is very important, and it helps you take a lot of decisions better. It'll help you prepare a lot better to exactly know what to say and make your work done. Rule number 13 says, show a genuine interest in other people, because believe it or not, we all want to just talk about ourselves somewhere. I know it sounds really mean, but I know it's true. It's the way it has been shown, and the examples that are given here, it's hilarious. Okay, also, I think why the book worked for me is, okay, I think this book is going to work for everyone. It's a very generic book that works for everyone. But because of the examples that are actually given here, I think people who are in the sales and the business development profile are someone who will relate a lot to it, which is why it worked for me as well, I think. Next one is Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. For all those who don't know her, she is the current COO of Facebook, and for me, she is the epitome of hard work, leadership, success, feminism, resilience, perseverance, and I aspire to be like her every single day. So, the first time I got to know about her was back in 2015 when I watched her TED Talk titled Why We Have Too Few Women Leaders. And it was also the time when I was joining the corporate world, so it hit hard. I mean, the numbers that she talked about, and she explains that for one reason or the other, not enough women are leading teams, companies, or countries across the world, which in a way is just sad. I was so impressed with her that I wanted to read this book. And when I did, it taught me so many things. The book inspired me to take charge of my career, to never be belittled for being a woman at workplace or otherwise, to ask for challenging projects, to raise a hand, to ask for what I think I deserve, and most importantly, to never give up, no matter what. She also talks about how difficult it is for a working woman to have a work-life balance. She says that on average, a working woman does 2 times the household chores and 3 times the childcare. And I think it's just not fair. What really works for me is that she also shares anecdotes, her experience throughout her career, and also research data, which makes it very believable and relatable. In a nutshell, Cheryl wants all the women to sit at the table, to seek challenges, to lean in more towards the career and make it a success. With that, the 5 books are done. But for all those who stayed, I have a bonus figure. Here it is. It's Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. I don't think so that there's any one of you who might have not either of her or of her work. But if you haven't, this is my chance, my friends. Now, personally, I am not... Okay, so it's a collection of poetry and prose. And I am not into... Or I was not into poetry before I bumped into this. This book is magical. All that she says about femininity, sexuality, womanhood, self-love, it's bang on. The words are powerful. They just flow and hit the right chords of your soul. I highly recommend this one. And we are finally done for today. You know the drill. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below of what you think of it. Also, do we have something in common? Did I mention one of your favorite books? If not, please tell me about your favorite book. I always want to explore more authors, more genres. It's kind of my thing. And yeah, let me know if you like how the channel is going so far. I'll see you soon in the next video. Until then, do whatever makes you happy. Bye bye.